start. I put a wall around my heart, but you're breaking it down. It falls to the ground, 'cause I had lost what you just found. The noise all around, I'm drowning it out, like we're the only ones in the crowd. 'Cause you save me now, save me now, save me now, save me now, save me fire burns as the feeling starts. I put a wall around my heart, but you're breaking it down. It falls to the ground, 'cause I had lost what you just found. The noise all around, I'm drowning it out, like we're the only ones in the crowd. 'Cause you save me now, save me now, save me now, save me now, save me
Hello and welcome,
somebody gonna
everybody. How are you this evening?
I'm
With
sitting
me,
here
as
waiting for him to
always,
say something.
I have Mina and Filia Noctis as my co-hosts.
Hello, my necrophiliacs. I'm back.
Hello,
and
everybody. I don't
With
have
us
names
as
for
our
my-
guests, we have Hair-Raising Narratives.
Hello, everybody.
I love your spooky ghost.
Thank you. It's somewhat different than everybody else's, but I
It
think
is.
it's okay.
It is. Hey, you gotta have a gimmick, right?
Yeah, I suppose so.
I like the ghosty too.
Yeah, although look at everybody else's, and everybody else's always looks so cool, and mine's just kind of this this thing. So
Okay.
I think if you ever get a new avatar, what you need to get is those skeletons that are drinking coffee on the couch.
yeah, get one of those guys. Yeah.
That,
I
that-
think
Well,
Mine's
you
kind of
know,
bland, but
So,
in
out
a
of curiosity,
in a room full of Barbies, be a
so
skipper.
out of
And
curiosity,
you don't know what that
Harry.
means, so don't laugh. But Mia does.
mhm.
So out of curiosity, Harry, the skeletons. Did you do the animations for them yourself?
Oh, no, 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 no. I don't think I have that kind of talent to do anything like that. No, I commissioned that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Who did
Yeah,
you
no, I
commission
thought
it from?
I just commissioned it on Fiverr.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I heard really good things about that server, so I commissioned it out and just kind of asked them to. It wasn't very specific about what I wanted, but I kind of gave them my vision, and they came up with that, and I was like, wow, I love it. It was kind of it really showed. It's kind of a good representation, I guess, of my channel.
That's that. I've heard other people use Fiverr, um, and I've seen good stuff come out of there. So yeah. How you doing, Dark Horse?
Yes. Okay. So we kind of started off a little bit different than normally.
A little bit backwards.
Normal. So, hair raising. What I usually have you do is I'll have you tell the peoples a little bit about yourself. And while you're doing that, I always ask the chat to think of any questions that you may have for hair raising. And we'll keep tally of your questions and we'll ask them in order usually.
Well, we tried
Take it
to.
away, hair raising.
Great. Well, I've been doing my channel now for about 3 months, and I guess really the reason I started it was I pretty much love anything that's horror related, and I originally started just writing stories, and I kind of wanted to do something maybe like an anthology book, but ultimately I just ran across different narrators and I was like, oh my god, what are these people doing? Whatever they're doing, I love it. I want to be a part of that. And so I already had this kind of collection of various different stories. So I said, okay, well, might as well narrate them myself and kind of get into this. And I decided I was going to do one sort of a video and see if I liked it, and I really enjoyed it. So from there on, I just kept narrating, and I've been doing about a video a week so far, and so far I really like it. I don't know, I don't feel too confident about quality of my work, but I enjoy what I do, and I am trying to get better and constantly improve. But this is something that I really do because I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun for me. It would be great if eventually I can monetize this, but for right now, really, it's not my that's not my intention. I'm just doing it because it's a lot of fun. So I am coming towards the end of narrating all the stories I've written. So from then on, I think it's going to be even more work since I'll have to either write them, keep writing them myself, or find stories out there. But it's already very time consuming. So I don't know how I'm gonna do it going forward.
Yeah, I get that. So so you also write your own stories. I didn't actually know that you wrote your own stories. That's actually really cool. I get the struggle of writing stories and narrating and keeping them in a flow. Because all my Wednesday videos are also my own videos, and I'm running low on them.
As do I. And I'm not running low. It's just I've had some really bad weeks lately.
So 242 so kindly asked, excuse me, why is your avatar so scary?
Is she referring to one of y'all's avatars?
No, yours.
Yours.
Yeah, I was yeah, I was telling her that it's I wanted to go for something that was a little I don't want to say a little comedic, but something that was a little friendly. But then, as I'm looking towards everybody else's as avatars, mine just seems so out of place. Like I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe I need to revisit mine or change mine up or something. So I don't know. But some people have been saying that they like it, so I don't know. I might just stick with it.
Hey, I like it. It's simple, but yet eye catching. So it's good in my book.
Okay. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly. It's very memorable.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right. Well,
it's something that you can just, you know it. It's like, well,
It's funny. I look at other people's avatars, right, and I just look at mine, and mine looks like a freaking superhero. That took us fashion style from Indiana Jones.
no, no, man. Yours seems to fit in quite well. Like I said, well, mine's the one that's kind of out of the ordinary because it's more like a logo, type avatar than an avatar. And I really like the fact that everybody else has like this this avatar that's more like an alter ego type. And so that's what I really like about everybody else's.
Yeah, most of us use Yeah Man. He's fairly reasonably priced, and as you can see, he does good work.
Mine was actually done by Usagi Bunny.
Yes, I said most of us. I didn't say all of us.
and
And Mia
I-
did hers.
I did that in 2009-ish. She is way outdated now. And she is not Mina.
Oh,
Believe it or not.
really?
Her name is just Mia. Mia Torana. And she's a tear doll from EQ2.
Ah,
But I guess since you've kept it that long, I guess you really like it though.
I want to redo it, but I haven't had time to redo
Oh.
it.
So
And every time I get to start to redo it, something happens to this monster sitting next to me, and I end up spending more money on it and not getting the program reinstalled.
oh yeah.
so
Know that fear.
So we have some additions to our chat room. And our chat room, our additions do not match our likes, people.
Like,
I want to
like.
see that number go up. Likes,
I have
likes,
to
likes.
get
Get 'em in
Patches
there.
over here. Patches does
So-
a really
so,
good job of telling people how to like the stream.
Come on, babies. Hit my buttons.
Ooh.
Come on, there's one. Give me a couple more. Come on, babies. You can do it. Oh, wait. What chat room am I in? I'm confused.
well, I'm gonna
I
start
am
calling
a
you
another one.
transmitter.
instead of calling him Raising, I'm just gonna start calling you HR. It's quicker.
Yeah.
Because I'm a
Hey.
human, not a robot.
JPC is here. And Antonio is here. And Anime is here.
He's here.
We haven't seen her in forever.
So HR, what inspired you to start writing?
Well, I've always liked writing. I think ever since I was young. But really, honestly, I just stuck with it because it's one of the things that I think I'm pretty good at. So there's not a lot of things I'm good at, but I think writing is one of them. So I said, well, let me just stick with this. But no, I enjoy it. I really enjoy it, and when I was younger, I think I've always liked writing my own stories, and they weren't necessarily stories in this genre, but just in general. And I guess now I just kind of decided to merge two of my passions, writing and doing something in the horror community. And so I think this has turned out pretty great. It's like a perfect, it's a perfect combination of doing two things that I love.
Cool.
Yeah, from what I've heard, I haven't gotten to listen to all your stories. But from what I've heard, I really like them. That you are good at writing. It's really, like I said, it's hard to maintain a balance between writing and YouTube when you start getting on the grind.
Yeah, it's time consuming, like really time consuming. So, but at the same time, the alternative of going out and finding stories from other people is also with writing them, I can just kind of write them myself. I'm not so good at the going out and asking people if I can use their stories and all of that. I have a lot more control if I just write my own. And maybe I just need to be a little bit more of an extrovert and reaching out to people, but it's just
Yeah.
it's it's just much easier.
Introvert for their win.
Okay,
So-
okay, sounds like I'll keep writing them then.
So I have some people who I could introduce you to that have a lot of stories that they've written. Rose Black, Timothy Duran, Casey Were Alien. As the Raven Dreams has a website where, as long as you credit him, you can read his stories. So I can, if you need stories, man, I could hook you up with some people who will let you read their stories.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. I mean, I don't know. Now it's kind of lately I've been kind of thinking, well, doing them, writing my own, it's a little bit different. So maybe I could stick with that to see how long I'm able to do it for. I don't know if I'll be able to sustain it like for the long term, because like I said, it's just it is a lot. But eventually, I think maybe I want to start reading other. It would be so much easier. I just have to worry about the narration, the editing,
Yeah.
So, as a writer and narrator, and this is, I guess I can put this to everybody here. When you're narrating your own work and you realize that you messed up a line or you reworded something different than the way you wrote it, do you go back and change it in the writing, or do you change it in the narration, or do you just leave it alone in both?
I usually change it in the narration. Like once I'm reading it, in order to narrate it, I sometimes go over a sentence and I'm like, oh, that doesn't quite sound right. Like it doesn't sound natural. So I'll change it. So I'll narrate something differently than maybe what I wrote in that sentence. But I don't go back and change it in the writing, just because as I'm going through, it would be even more time consuming to go back and make that edit. And then once I'm done with the narration, I'll forget by that point, to be honest, to go back and change it in the writing. But some things I just feel like sound better when you're reading them, and other things sound better as you're narrating them. So at least in my experience, it has been that the two don't always, I can't have something written and then narrate it 100% as it is. For whatever reason, once I'm narrating it, I'm like, oh, you know what? This sounds better if I say it this way rather than the way it's written.
Okay. PA.
I'm 50-50, honestly. If I'm narrating it and I come across a problem sentence, like something I don't like, I'll change it and I'll narrate it differently. And if I like how I said it and how I narrated it better than what I originally wrote, I will change it. There's sometimes where I've said something slightly different than how I had it written, and I'm like, it's really not worth changing, because it doesn't really change anything that was said. Just made it easier for me to say. So I sometimes change it, and sometimes narrate it differently. Sometimes I change it. Sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
Otter. You did. When I write, I actually read everything. I write from the perspective of a narrator, which is probably a little bit different. Most people write from the perspective of a writer. So everything I write is to be read. Everything I write is to be spoken. So I'm very aware of how things sound. So as I'm typing, I'm saying it to make sure it sounds right. Now, when I'm narrating someone else's story, I will try and do my best to stick to what they have. If it's just a horrible sentence that I cannot make work no matter what, I will actually contact the author and do everything I can to work with them and say, can we do it this way? Please? Because it's not working. It's too cumbersome, whatever. If it's just like a single word, then I kind of don't worry about it. But yeah, there are times when I've actually asked to change entire paragraphs that they were repetitive. They didn't need to be there. They didn't do anything for the story, and they were a tangle of words. They were there because the writer was impressed with themselves using big words.
Despise that on a cellular level. As a writer, if you place something in a story and you don't use it later on, it doesn't belong there. And my favorite example is early on when Raven was narrating. There was a story, and it was a great story. I freaking loved it. But it was about like this cafe and how it was the cafe was like how it was home to a cult. But the first like 10 minutes of the story, the characters like, we got an Uber, then we went to the movies, and after the movie was over, we went to the cafe. Then that was when all this stuff happened. But never once did he bring up the movie theater again or the Uber. I'm like, there was no point. And you starting that story with you going to the movies unless it had something to do with the story at the end. A little continuity, people. It's all I'm asking for.
You have that story that you're still waiting for me to, and that's where this question actually sparks from. There's a story, my St. Patrick's Day story, which I actually have to get out because somebody's using a character, or at least I think he's using a character from it. But the part of the story that PA proofed, it kept talking about a dagger. And she did this with the dagger, and she did this with the dagger, and the dagger was here when she was doing this, and the dagger was there when she was doing this. And by the end of the point that he got to, because I wasn't finished writing it, he goes, okay, so what's with the dagger? You didn't tell us what's with the dagger. And
it was like, what's the point with the dagger? Because you just put it in there, and you made you put a lot of emphasis on that dagger. It's important for some reason.
But see, I recorded it, and PA knows this because I kind of blew up when I heard it, and I was going back through the audio to clean it up and everything, and I'm listening, and wait a minute, go back. Wait a minute. Did I really say that? I go back. Yeah. I said hair. I didn't say red hair. I said hair. Damn it. And that's a very important plot thing there. And so I am going to have to redo the whole bloody thing.
I hate that.
Yeah, because I can't. I've learned that I can't splice in my voice if I record after. I just can't do it. Hey,
I can never get the same tone. I can never get. Can you? Yeah. Can you do that hair raising? Can you get the same tone? Can you splice in?
No, I don't do that either.
If I'm doing it in the same day, like I haven't gotten up and left from recording type thing, I might be able to do it. But most of the time I just say, forget it. I'll just redo the whole thing. But this is like over 3 months ago that I recorded this. So forget that mess.
I can get the same tone. So what I do to get the same tone, and it's gonna sound silly, but I can mimic voices, especially the ones that I do. So I'll listen to my voice and I'll record it, and then I'll listen to it again, and if it doesn't match up, I'll delete what I recorded, and I'll do that until I can perfectly mimic the tone that I had the night before.
Well, I can't do that.
Now, see, when I was doing Beautiful Nightmares book, I literally had to go back to the episode before to listen to the voice that I did for the characters and remember which one. Now, I didn't have to do it the dumb butt, but because I knew what I did with his voice. But
Now I knew what they did with it was.
but some of the other characters I was a little bit different with, and yeah, I had to go back and go, okay, wait a minute. There was one character I wasn't really. I didn't like that he wasn't the character I wanted him to be. In other words, I didn't like that he wasn't the killer. I had no problem with his voice. It was everybody else. Except for no, because Dean's voice was different too. Different from mine. Because remember, I made the comment that I wished that I had done Dean's voice closer to my own voice. So it would be easier since he talks through the whole thing.
So I don't know if you guys, if any of you listened to my last narration on Wednesday when I did Do Not Enter here, but
I did.
But I did. I did. Oh, I'm talking like this, and I want me some French fried taters. I did that voice for. I did that voice for Anthony, and it was like during the freaking premiere. I was like, "Yep, that's his perfect voice." That was for some reason that's how I always pictured him sounding. How about you, HR? You ever write a character and go, "I know exactly how this guy sounds in my head."
I'm not so good at doing. I'm trying to get better at doing other voices, but right now, to be honest, I'm just not that good at it. So I try to avoid doing characters that. But yes, it does happen to me where I write a character and I'm like, okay, this person sounds just like this, but I'm not to the point yet where I'm trying to mimic their that voice because I don't do such a good job at it.
Well, sometimes though, when you're writing, doesn't that voice just show up in your head?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just like when you're writing, you almost feel like as you're writing it or as you're reading those sentences that you wrote, it's almost like in your mind you're reading them like that character. And so it's like that you're reading it with not only the voice maybe of that character, but also the personality. So yes, I do read them like that, and it is a little weird because as you're narrating it, I want to do it just like that person, just like I'm envisioning that person talking, that character. But I don't know, maybe it's a little like I can't do it justice, if that makes sense. Like I can't do it justice, so I just don't even try it at all. But I want to. It's something I'm going to do. I just haven't. I'm not quite there yet.
So here's what I say: just do it, because you're not going to get better if you don't do it.
Yeah, I had one character that I it's a story you guys haven't got any idea on. And as I was writing it, I kept hearing James Earl Jones's voice. And I mean, you know that voice. You know?
Yeah.
And it's right there in my head, and I'm going, there is no way in hell I'm going to find anybody that sounds like him to do this voice. You know, it's not going to happen.
Just ask Jensen. I'm sure he can do it.
No, I've already got one for him to do. I'm just kind of needing to talk to him about it.
Just give Jensen another one and say, I need you to sound like James Earl Jones. I'm sure he can do it.
Because I kind of, with the Jensen story, it's kind of, I think, going to be expanding, and it may be long time between episodes. I don't know if he wants to be dragged into that, so you know.
So what do you do whenever you like in that instance, how when you narrate it? I mean, what do you do?
Actually, since I haven't narrated one of those yet,
Oh.
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
You know, it's I might try to play with voice modulation that I haven't played with yet at all. So I'm not sure, but it's one of those things where that's one of the reasons why I haven't actually let a lot of people do my writing. That sounds so hard. Um, I'm worried that I'm going to hear that voice in my head that I wrote it with versus the narrator, and I'm going to judge the narrator by that. Not that I want to,
Ah.
but that it's just
Voices in your head to shut up.
So
that it's just that I mean, I've had one narrator do one of my stories that it was not me.
and is that what you thought whenever they did it? You were like, that's not how that person's supposed to sound, that character.
Didn't matter. My main character was female, and it was a guy doing the voice.
Oh, okay.
So it really didn't matter.
Oh, that makes a big difference, doesn't it?
And he did a wonderful job. I mean, he really did.
Yeah,
But,
that's
you know, it's just one of those things, you know.
I do. I do. And what do y'all do with like speaking about that, like whenever it's a like if your character is a female but it's a male that has to narrate it, or vice versa, do you just kind of do you read it naturally, or do you read it kind of we're trying to make your voice sound, you know, either more feminine or more masculine?
Well, that's
I
kind of
read
a
it
trope.
naturally.
For
I
other
read it
male
naturally.
roles, so for other male roles, if they have a lot of lines, I try to make the voices slightly different. Like if somebody says one has a deeper voice, I'll try to give it a deeper voice. If one, but for like females, I soften my tone just a little bit. Like it's not like drastically noticeable, but it's noticeable enough that you know that it's no longer the main character talking.
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
might go start talking. I might talk like this, but then I'll just kind of talk like this, like instead, like I'll just lower my voice just a little bit, so you know it's a different person talking.
It I kind of try to do a different voice for every character, even if it's only slightly. It's just plain creepy. I try to make my voice sound more girly. Only problem is I sound like a 50-year-old smoker that's trying to sound girly. It doesn't work.
Joking around last night. I was joking around last night in BC, like after we were playing Among Us, and I started talking like this, and Somber Puppet's like, never do that voice again. And then I was like, well, now I'm just gonna do a whole
doing
video
all
where I
that.
talk like this.
I like that.
The thing is you get, and this is more with it, and it's kind of a trope with the let's not meet and let's read group or no
Yeah.
sleep group. Is the male narrator saying, I'm a 15-year-old female.
Yeah.
And this happened 4 years ago. So I was what, 11?
So I made a
I
joke.
have to. I was
I was
just
gonna
saying,
say,
I have to interrupt real quick. Just real quick. My Chris is here. Hello, my Chris. Bye, Chris. My Chris.
Okay.
Okay, carry on. I'm done.
So as the Raven Dreams does, like words of the week, and what it was like the week before last, his word was catalyst, and I was like, the catalyst to every great let's not meet story is getting a male narrator to say, I insert H here, am female, just like that's a catalyst to every successful let's not meet story.
The sad thing is, and of course, on the other side of it, you get the females that are doing the I'm a 35-year-old male. And this
HR.
happened when I was 25. But the thing is, and I've asked male narrators that do those stories, and why are there so many of them? There just seems to be so many females that write those stories more than there are males.
Oh,
Well,
I've
I
learned
think there's a
HR.
reason for that.
Yep.
HR. Oh, HR.
HR.
Uh,
I'm HR now.
so
Hair raising. Hair raising. Hair raising.
so, how do you get past writer's block?
But I have to step away because I'll waste time. I mean, I've tried it already. I just kind of powering through it. It doesn't work for me. I have to step away, come back the next day, and it's like my brain takes a break, and I'm able to just keep going. But usually, if I sit down, I can go quite a bit. I can write quite a bit, and if I do like a for each of my stories, I'm trying to do at least 5,000 words. And I can usually get a good chunk of them knocked out in one day. But at that point where I don't know where the story is going or where to take it, so I have to step away and then come back the next day, and then I'm good to go. But there's no way I can just power through it. So really, that's what works for me.
So you just
So-
do a little overnight reset.
Exactly. Yep, it works perfectly.
Okay.
Yes,
There you
we
go.
we want like to see more likes, guys. We're getting more people in, and there's Matt's chats and Spooky Boo and I already said amateur. We already said amateur. Okay.
Yeah.
The the funniest part about it with it seems to be famine or feast or famine.
Family.
Thank you. It seems to be that the writers seem to have all these ideas burgeoning in their heads, or they're sitting there looking at the screen going, "Where are you?
Hello, anybody in
How
there?
do I start this? Hello?" Well, I guess we're going to go watch some more videos. You know,
Right?
it's
Bring on
just
the cat videos.
it just seems to be that way. And you said 5,000 words for every story.
Yes. Yeah. Right now, 5,000 words for me it's something that I'll narrate and can make last for about 20 minutes. And I would like to get to the point where I'm able to write longer stories, because that seems to be, at least from what I've asked people, people want to see stories that are a little bit longer as opposed to some of the shorter ones. But I just, I cannot physically do anything more than that. It's like the max of what I'm capable of doing right now.
I understand that. I have a hard time holding myself back to 5,000 words.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
It's
Never
kind of
exceeded 5,000 words, to be honest.
it's kind of a joke. Was it's like, I'll start writing and I'll come out of my cubby hole like 2 or 3 days later. Hush, you PA, and he's like, "Oh, so how many words have we gotten done? 7,500. And you're how close to the end? Oh, I'm just at the beginning." It's like when I do occasionally I do writing challenges, and then and occasionally they'll put like, you can only go up to 1,000 words, and I'm like,
Wow, I'm jealous to hear that.
and then there's other times though that it's like I've got the whole thing in my head, but I can't figure out how to get it on paper in the word limit. It's just, I don't know. I'm kind of weird. If you haven't
No,
figured that out.
That's pretty great. I mean, that's I would. I think to me it's because when I'm writing them, I know like the longer I go, like, oh my god, this is more that I have to narrate. This is more that I have to edit. This is more that I have to find sound effects for, and I know I'm like, let's keep this. Yeah, let's keep this at about 5,000. Seems to be my. But yeah, no, that would be if I was just writing. That would be awesome. I could just kind of go to town with it and focus just on that, and go over it and proofread it even more as much as possible. But I don't know. Sometimes I guess when you're doing all of it, it's you're only capable of doing so much. But I think for sure, like you said, whenever you go longer with it, you're just able to flesh out the story so much more. And I think that might be. I think if I could do longer stories, they might be of better quality. But a lot of times, I feel like I'm just like I have to churn them out just so I can keep up with everybody else in the stories, doing them once a week. And I just hope it never gets to the point where the quality of the story is suffering because I'm just trying to get videos out there.
Oh, please don't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that is a difference because when I sit down and write a story, I'm not thinking I'm going to narrate this, which I probably should. But what I'm thinking is I'm going to tell a story, and this is what the story is going to be about. Or I'm going to tell a story, and this is how the story is going to start. Don't know where it's going to go. I know how it's going to end. I know how it's going to begin. But what happens in the middle is up to it. And that's how a lot of my stories start. So, having a set number of words is kind of daunting to me. I see like Beautiful Nightmare and PA and Filia even and Timothy churning out these short stories left and right all over the place. And I'm like, how do you get them down to 10 minutes?
See, this is how I write. I have just a general premise. Say like right now, I have an idea about it's a Native American creature. It's literally called a big-headed demon. It's just a demon that flies around with bat wings and like talons, and it's just a disembodied head, and it kills people. I have an idea where I'm gonna turn that into like these guys come these trespassers are on Native American land. They're disrespecting the land by littering, etc. And this head's just gonna come out and seek vengeance, take out vengeance on them. And I'm going to start with no particular plot other than that in mind, and I'm going to write. And when I feel the little story has reached its natural conclusion, I'm done. I don't care about how many words there are on the paper. I don't care really about how long it is. I just care that from the time I start to the time I finish, everything is cohesive. There's no wasted detail, and that when I'm done, the ending doesn't feel rushed. So if that's 1,000 words to 10,000 words, I don't care. I'm gonna write until I feel like the story hits natural conclusion.
Right.
Yeah, that is a kind of different, good perspective to hear. It's kind of nice to hear the way everybody else approaches it, because I think I do need to loosen my own kind of self guidelines on that. I have this like you said, it's just I have 5,000 words I have to hit, and that's kind of what I measure myself to and try to hold myself accountable to that. But what the purpose of that is, like I said, I'm just trying to get to where I write longer stories, and I think that's the reason. That's the reason why. I think I've just heard that longer stories is more. It's just what people want to hear. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but that's all I've heard.
So there is a market for people who want like longer stories. I love longer stories when I'm driving to and from work, because I have an hour commute. So an hour story is freaking amazing, because I don't have to like trust YouTube will just autoplay me another video. But for most people, and Raven's taught me this, and Raven learned it from other people, that 20 minutes is the sweet spot for YouTube. Most people will stick around for a 20-minute story. Longer than that, they may or may not stick around. Shorter than that, they might not even bother clicking on the video at all.
Right.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay.
And that's why, some of us actually slice stories where we'll...
Yeah.
Until you get to be... I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's like, yeah, you'll slice the story so that it's in bites of 20 to 30 minutes.
So you're
Yeah,
saying like multiple stories in one video.
that or
No,
if it's a really long video, what you'll do like half of the story
Ah,
the first time and then the half of the story the next time. Like I don't know how many people are going to stick around for all of Monday's video, but it's going to be about an hour and 10-minute long story.
I'll stick around, but then again, I'm me.
I'm going to just say this.
Right?
I'm going to say this story is written by Nate Nelson. It's called Blood, and it is still my
Oh,
favorite video that Raven has ever done.
love that story.
It is amazing.
and you're narrating that one.
Yes.
Is that
Yep.
the first one that you've done that long?
Yeah, this is my first hour-long video.
Okay.
It is an undertaking and a half, let me tell you. And I lost all the audio yesterday. I saved it and my Audacity crashed and I lost an hour 10 minutes. And I was like, well, I could do a shorter one. Then my stubborn side came out and said, or we can do this again. And I was like, looks like we're putting our big boy pants on and doing it again.
That means it'll be even better the second time.
It actually, honestly, it was probably a good thing that this happened because I was worried that it wouldn't be very cohesive and like sound that good. But the second time I read it, it was like it took me like 6 hours to read it the first time. This time I've read about 75% of the story in like 2.5 hours, and it was much easier and felt much more natural.
I think
Oh,
that's
there
what
you
I'm
go.
dreading about. I think that's what I'm dreading about the story that I'm going to have to redo is there are some Celtic words in it that I know I have a very hard time pronouncing. And I'm not looking forward to that again. I already closed all those links.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
going to be opening up again.
HR, if there was a type of a genre of like writing that you could do other than horror,
Mhm.
what would be your preferred genre?
Ooh.
I think maybe adventure type stories.
Oh,
Yeah,
Like
yeah, I think that would be
adventure,
fun.
like adventure, like fantasy adventure, or
Yeah, fantasy adventure. I think my mind would I could just my mind could go to all sorts of places with that. I don't think I would have much writer's block there. I think I have like that's where my imagination could probably work best is doing that type of genre because I could just take it anywhere. That I'm not like I'm not working within any set of I'm not working with it within constraints, and I can just be free with my imagination.
yeah,
Mm.
I like that. I actually had it's an idea, and I call it fan fiction because I want to put it in the realm of where the story takes place, but that's about all that this idea had to do with fan fiction. I want to write my own like um, Castlevania-esque story.
Ooh.
interesting. Um, you know, Antonio Azazel Codex was doing a Castlevania um,
Fan
collab,
fiction.
fan fiction collab.
Did not know that.
He
No,
may still be doing it.
there's an anime
I
on
don't think he ever did it.
there's an anime on Netflix that's called Castlevania, and I started rewatching it, and I'm like, I want to write a story because I love the imagery and I just love the story, like just the Belmonts and the character development in that anime, and I was like, I need to do something like this just for my own sake. Oh,
Is,
Matt's leaving. Good night, Matt. You have a good one,
Night,
dude.
Matt.
see you, Matt.
Hi, Matt. Have a good one.
What were we gonna say, man?
So is that something you think you're gonna try and tackle, or?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do it because I just had the idea, and it was like one of the if you ever have an idea and you get excited about it, you do it
Uh-huh.
because the second you
Oh
get
Especially
yeah.
excited about something, you're gonna put like a lot of effort into it, and it's gonna turn out amazing every
and
time.
if you haven't had a chance, if you don't think you're going to be able to get to it just to begin with, write it down. Write it down. Either have a piece of paper or put it in a file or, you know, somewhere make note of it in your, you know, I've got a in my Reddit subreddit, I've got a possible story prompts. And that's a lot of the Raven does his words of the week. A lot of the words of the week answers that I give him are little story snippets.
Yeah,
And I will put them in that particular thread so that I've got it to go back to. So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, write it down somewhere so that you can go back and you can, you know, keep it.
I have a document of all the story ideas that I've had. So whenever I have a new story idea, if it's one I think I can turn it into something, I put it down, and I'm like, yep, we'll get to you eventually.
As a matter of fact, I have my Google document story ideas open right now on my desktop.
It sounds
Well,
like everybody does it.
like I said, I have a program that I use for writing, and I'm able to go from the computer I'm at right now, which is my desktop, to laptop over by the bed, and use the same program with the same file. And that's why I had to shut down the other computer from that program so that I could bring them up over here. But I have them open on both computers so that if something hits me, I can go at it. Or if I'm working on something on one computer and I really can't stand this chair very long because I have MS, and lately it has been a lot of struggle to get in this chair.
And
But
what's the name of the program that you use?
it's called Scavenger. I hope I'm saying that right.
Okay, because
It's Scrivener.
okay, that
It,
might be, oh,
it's from
yeah.
Literature and Latte,
Okay.
and I absolutely adore this program. This, like I said, the nice thing is that it backs up on both computers. So I have a backup of where I stopped on this computer. I have a backup where I stopped on that computer, and then I have the networked file that I'm actually writing to. So I basically got 3 backups.
So
Nice.
Cool.
And
so
I can pull them up and I can write, and I don't have to be the program. Once you buy the program, that license is yours. As long as you own the computer, you can put that program on it. It doesn't have to. There's no limit to the number of times you can put it
Nice.
on a system, as long as it's your computer. So if I had 3 laptops, I don't have 3 laptops. If I had 3 laptops and 2 desktops, I could put it on all of them. Hey, then I could write in every room in the house.
That sounds like a positive. Yeah.
I have I have a Chromebook that I take to work, and because my job, like towards the end, like depending upon what day of the week it is, towards the end of my shift, I have plenty of downtime. I actually write while I'm at work, but So that's why I like Google Docs, because like no matter where I go with the Google Doc, I can, like, if I open up my Chromebook or open up my laptop, what I started is and where I finished at is, saved automatically.
Well, I
But
used to do Google Docs all the time, but
yeah,
my problem was that there's an extra there's an extra layer in the program I use that helps me organize my thoughts, and
but
that makes a difference.
I did want to ask. So I know you write. I don't know how many stories you have, but do you have any plans on like publishing a book like on Amazon? Because self publishing is becoming a big thing, and Amazon's one of the best places to do it. I'm actually gonna be doing that myself. So do you have any plans on doing that in the future?
I've actually looked into it. Like I said, that's originally what I wanted to do. Is I was just writing stories. I didn't really have a concrete plan. I wanted to do maybe like some sort of anthology, or I just knew, let me write the stories first, and then once I have them, I'll think about the logistics of it. But I've been kind of narrating all my stories, and as of now, not really. I think I need to focus more on my channel first, and then probably after that, I'll start going back to maybe thinking about doing some sort of book. But I think one of the great things about it is, like you said, it's pretty easy now to do it nowadays. But no, as of now, not really. No.
You could just with the stories that you have written. What I'm gonna do is do a book of short stories. That's a thing that's actually becoming a popular thing, and especially in the horror community, is where you just take your short stories that you've narrated and you just configure them into a book, and you just publish a book of short stories. So
Yeah,
that would always be
Sabian has
something to
done
look
that,
into. Yeah,
and
Sabian's done
he
that.
does
Beautiful Nightmare has done that. Timothy's done that.
and they always those who have done that. And I can't say this for everyone, but a lot of the ones that have done that I know also put like one or two stories in there that haven't been narrated, just as a like
Send a
a
little treat for whoever buys the book.
yeah, it's a treat. It's a little Easter egg. That's the word I wanted.
Yeah.
For anybody who actually buys the book. The people who don't buy the book, of course, they'll never hear those, because those particular stories will never be narrated.
I like that. Yeah.
What I actually would probably do, and it would just be because they're my Patreons, is like I would probably narrate that story, but only put it on Patreon. That way, because like there's since they're again they're a Patreon, they're giving me money. I feel like that, and I know that those people would end up buying the book regardless, but it would just be like a little extra treat for them, and I try to like make sure that the people who donate to me get their money's worth, and I feel like they're not just paying me to pay me.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I really like that. I think I'll look into doing that.
I actually, yeah, Beautiful Nightmare and Sabian did this to me. I've actually started a book for this year, volume 1 for the channel. But I've gone back and started putting in the ones that I did in 2019 and 2020 in the list, along with the ones I'm doing this year. And still writing, so that I've got it divided into short stories, longer stories, and poetry, because I do have poetry, and then holiday stories when I have like holiday stories. And I don't know what I'm gonna poke in there as not narrated. But the other thing that Sabian said you could do is, since you are narrating them, go ahead and do a audible audio file for when you release it, so it can be released on audible at the same time,
Oh.
and it's your narration.
Oh wow, that sounds like a really good idea. So I
I
guess
don't know
you.
how that works, but
Okay. So so is it like so would it be released almost like an audiobook?
well, it releases as a uh, he releases Kindle, paperback, and audible.
So it would be paperback, and then there would be the ebooks.
Right.
Uh, okay, so I wonder if that audio, like the audio version of it, is just taking the audio file for the narrations you've already done, or if you have to redo them in any way. I wonder.
I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm gonna look into it, but I don't know, honestly.
Okay. Wow. Well, I'll look into it as
It-
well, because yeah.
Yeah, that's
You know, and Spooky Boo's been like, when it's coming out? When's it coming out? When is it coming out? Uh-huh.
so.
I love her.
HR.
Hi, ISB.
Yeah.
We're
out of
forgetting
all the-
about our crew.
So out of all the stories you've narrated, has there been one that's been like particularly difficult, either with just the way you worded it, or like emotions that like that made it like a hard read for you?
Yeah. Well, yeah. To answer, I guess, the part about I tend to, so I do think about when I'm writing my stories, I do think about the fact that I have to narrate them, but that I wouldn't say that necessarily affects the story, because I don't tend to use a lot of terminology just to use terminology and to make it sound, you know, better or more, you know, sophisticated or whatever. So I just kind of write it as it's coming to my head. So I don't, whenever I'm narrating it, I never really have any problems reading it. But I will say that sometimes when I try to when you're thinking about the emotion, that, you know, like there's an emotional part of it, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have to narrate this. I I do kind of struggle with those, because I don't know what do y'all do whenever it's a story that has like there's like I guess a real emotional moment that you have to narrate. Do y'all kind of go all in on that, or what's your kind of, how do you all approach that?
All in.
All in.
Okay.
Especially if it's
Yeah,
my
that-
own story, like I go all in. Like
Someone that does that really good is Vexy.
Vex is great.
He really, I mean, if he's angry, I mean, or excited, you can really, the character is really excited. You can really hear it in his voice. If the character is really scared or angry or hurt, you could really tell it in his voice. There was a part in Beautiful Nightmares book where Dean is talking to his daughter. No, it was his daughter talking to him and saying that she's sorry that he would never get to meet his grandson. He would never get to meet her husband, and she would never get to meet him as his daughter and not as the doctor that treated him for a while. And it was really heart-wrenching. And I started to cry while I was reading it on narrating.
There was a
And-
question that. Go ahead, Mia. Sorry.
And when it came out, Beautiful Nightmare says, "How did you get yourself to do it like that?" I said, "Because it was killing me."
Yeah, if
We
you
had to-
feel the emotion, let it out.
No. Somebody, I forget who said it, but there was somebody who asked if, like, asked a while back ago, if there was a character that you have ever written that you either A, didn't want to kill off, or B, like, you killed off, but you felt bad about it. And when this question was first proposed to me, I didn't have that character. But I gotta say, after narrating Do Not Enter here, it hurt my soul a little bit to kill Anthony off. I like that big burly man. So how about you, HR, you ever have a character that you write and you're like, I love this guy and I don't want to kill him off, but you do?
Only once, and it wasn't. It was just a story that I think wrote a while back ago, and I didn't publish it anywhere, or it's not out there anywhere. But yeah, I had one. I think, but it was like I think it was such a good antagonist that the character had to die or go away or whatever it was, but. I didn't want that it to go. I didn't want that person to go away because it was just the most perfect antagonist I could think of, and he worked so perfectly into that story. And I didn't want to let go of that. And I think maybe part of that was because I don't know. Maybe I thought I couldn't do it again. Because if it's such a great antagonist, if you're a good writer, you can just reproduce that in another way. But yeah, I've struggled with that as well because you're like, well, do I kill this person off or do I keep him around? But I think if you keep him around longer or her around longer than you need to, then I don't know, maybe at some point that character kind of loses that quality of whatever made it special in the first place.
I had a character in a story who, as a mother, was hard to kill off. Because the main character was the mother of this character. And the character had to die because of things happening in the plot. But it was really hard to have the mother of the character there as it was happening. And since I'm rewriting that scene, I'm not looking forward to getting there.
I had an antagonist, and everybody who's listened to the story knows this antagonist, but it was the boss in Do Not Enter Here, and he was just like,
oh, gads.
That guy, I wrote like the perfect asshole when it came to that guy.
Oh, what about the boyfriend in my New Year's story?
Yeah.
PA just wants to kill him.
Right.
Right? Yeah, just he needs to die. Yeah, or sacrifice him. If he's not slated to die, we'll just substitute him for somebody else who's going to die.
I don't normally kill people. Well,
No.
That's your mistake, 42. You leave too many people alive. I leave no one alive. I clean the house.
If PA leaves a character alive in one of his stories, there's going to be a second part.
That or I really like the character, and I just didn't want to gank him. That hasn't happened yet, though. Like I said, Anthony died, and I like that big burly man. I'm like, sorry, man, you're not living through this.
You gotta go.
You gotta go, man. You gotta go. I'm sorry, but you gotta go.
No, you were the hardest to part with.
Oh,
That 42 frozen to death.
Well, it's like I did the voice for the actually it's premiering right now. The voice for the character, the grandmother in An Apple a Day, Locust Lake, and I had previously done a Locust Lake character for Sabian, and my character before lived, and I was kind of like, I lived. My character for An Apple a Day died, and I was like, I don't know.
You know what? I just had a random thought.
Why do
Just
we
a
like
random
to
thought.
die?
And this reminds me, someone needs to write a story, a horror story about The Sims, because, and I got this thought by reading what 42 put. She says, look, I froze someone to death. And then she says, that was me being nice because I could have starved them to death. My daughter built a room It had a person in it, and it had no egress, and no way out. Built a room with no way out,
Mm.
and she left people in there. I'm like, well, what's going to happen to people? She goes, they're just going to stay in there. I'm like, forever? What's going to happen? They're going to die. And that just made me think about that. Someone needs to write a horror story about The Sims, but I don't know enough about The Sims to write it. So I'm
don't-
offering this idea up to
I don't.
anybody that knows that plays The Sims. Just in this little group right here, this 10 people watching us
Again.
right now.
Yeah,
I'm writing the story about the Sins.
I don't
You are.
know enough about Sims to write a story about Sims, but I have read.
Sims. I heard Sins.
Oh, Sims. No, Sims.
Sims.
Yeah, okay, that makes more
Game.
sense. No, but I
Sims.
could. I could. I don't know much about them, but I have watched enough people playing The Sims to know that I could write a story.
See, I had.
Oh,
I don't know if it was
42's
Sims.
already. She says she already has an idea.
I don't remember if it
She's
was
got
Sims
the-
or if it was Second
She got
Life,
face.
but it
Are you
was one of
claiming
the
it?
two. It doesn't have to be just one person doing it.
Okay, well, this is true. This is true. More than one
But-
person can do it.
The characters in the game, the player had been gone for a while and came back and, it's been a while since I played this. I'll play this now. And the characters in the game kind of looked at me. You left us. We don't want to play with you anymore. And she's like, wait a minute.
Right.
What do you mean? And I mean, it was a really neat the way they wrote the story, because the characters that she had created for this world that she was playing in, or he was playing in, were refusing to play with her because you left us. And
That's
Interesting.
yeah.
yeah, it was an interesting take on it, and I might do that with something else.
I had- Well, when she said Sims, I just had a like the idea of like Puppet Master, but with Sims pop in my head.
Wait, what did you hear, PA?
Sins, like as the 7 deadly sins, which I am working on
Ah.
on a story for the Sins
Already.
with I have Sloth written, and I'm going to work on the other ones.
Right, and I've got a part in that too. No, I'm sorry, I didn't enunciate well enough. Sims.
I'm also listening to Sabian's premiere, so I also had him talking in my
Oh,
ear,
okay.
but in my head. So, yeah, that's right. I'm multitasking here. Oh, I also closed out my document. So, do you have a favorite story that you've written, HR?
Probably, I would probably say maybe I wrote one called Knock Knock, and I think it's probably my favorite because I had a part in there where I really had to kind of express a lot of emotion. I think for the first time, and it was kind of maybe the first time I tried to go all out on it, and really felt comfortable doing it. So I think that's why it's my favorite. Because after I did it, I felt like, oh, okay, I'm starting to get the hang of this. Like, I feel really confident doing this. Either that one or probably There's Something in the Basement was also, I think I really like that story just because of where it went. Because usually when I write my stories, I just write them in whatever comes to my head. I just write it all down, and then through there, I'm able to find like, okay, this is the perfect ending for it, and all of that. But I usually just write, let it all come out, and then I go back and kind of work on it. And so with this one, it just seemed to everything fell into place, and it was just like everything came in perfectly. And that's probably why I really liked that story. But I am working on one right now that I really like, that I've always wanted to. So there's a story that I'm working on, kind of about a sort of a haunted house. And when I was younger, I kind of wanted to do something with a.
Okay.
I wanted to do something with like a haunted house, like as far as a business. Like I wanted to start my own haunted house. And was kind of looking into that and how to do that. And eventually, though, I decided, well, I don't want to. I don't want to kind of take that risk and taking out money and doing all that. So I just turned it into a story instead, and that's kind of something I'm currently working on right now. And I think I did ask PA to kind of help me out with that one and narrate a part.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. So,
Yeah.
my brain just did the thing where it comes up with an idea because that's what my brain does apparently.
Someone
And I
is bleeding
yeah,
through.
there's-
I'm sorry.
I don't. Hold on.
That's probably
Did
you, PA.
Did that stop it?
I still hear it.
Well, it's not me. It might
Yeah.
be.
Oh, it's not you?
It may be in the background here.
It
Oh.
might be my little sister's TV, and if that's the case, there's nothing I
Okay.
can do about that. But so I just had an idea of like because Sticks and Stones which is my either my favorite or my second favorite, was literally written on sticks and stones to break your bones, but words will never hurt you. That was the idea, the premise. I kind of just thought I had an idea of like Ring Around the Rosie, and like these little girls just appear at like this town, and like they just start singing Ring Around the Rosie, but they're like little ghost children, and then like right after they sing that, like shit just starts hitting the fan, and bad stuff just starts happening in that town. Like they're like an omen of death. Because Ring Around the Rosie is about the plague, and
Yeah,
Right.
I like that.
That could be
what
a
was
good
that, Mia?
story.
I like that idea.
That's what my brain does. Randomly comes up with ideas out of nowhere.
Okay, guys. It's
But,
been. It's time to ask the funny questions.
He
This has
probably
been a
doesn't
very.
know.
Well, that's fine. He's going to get the questions now.
No, I'm saying he probably doesn't know some of the people that we're talking about in the question. Their places. I'm gonna shut up now.
Look, all I need to know is Rohan or Gondor.
I thought it was Sam or Dean.
Hair raising, Rohan or Gondor.
I don't know who they are.
You don't know. You don't know Lord of the Rings.
No, I forgot who I was talking to about this. I think it was 42, but no, I never got into Lord of the Rings. I couldn't.
Shame,
I
shame, shame.
I promise I tried. I just couldn't.
It's okay. Some people do, some people don't. Okay. You can redeem yourself, Sam
Okay.
or Dean Winchester.
I also never got into Supernatural.
Shame,
Oh my
shame.
God.
I promise
Oh my
I tried
gosh.
too.
Kirk or Picard?
I also never got into Star Trek.
How about Star Wars?
Dude.
No, I never got into Star Wars. I watched Star Wars, but no, I can never get into it either.
Well, he might know this one. Ginger or Marianne?
No, I'm sorry.
I
Shrek
give
or
up.
Farquaad.
No.
Wow.
Why are you throwing me
how-
hardball questions?
So how about this? If you were on
Okay.
death row and you could you could have what would you want your last
it out.
meal to be?
What would have? Oh, last meal, pizza.
Pizza. What's on it?
It has to be a vegan pizza, so anything vegan.
Oh, that explains it. He's vegan.
Oh, well, I always knew
It
I'd
gets
find the
me
root
out
of
of
all
it.
evil. Look, see, I always knew I'd find the root of all evil in a vegan bakery.
Right? Yes, the fact that you're
Wow.
vegan explains a lot.
Okay, if it gets me out of the, that's a good excuse. Okay, I'll take it.
You being
Okay.
being vegan explains everything. You just hate anything that's fun.
There you go.
Well, I
So-
mean, carrot cake is vegan,
Yes. Well,
or is it?
yes.
I
Well,
mean, yeah,
carrot
if it
cake
doesn't, if
can't
it,
have cream cheese frosting.
yeah, or dairy. I mean, if you make it, you can use alternatives when baking it.
I gotta know, are you
Well, you
vegan
can
by
make the
choice
cake.
or by necessity?
No, it's by choice, but I think it started off by necessity because I just dairy doesn't really agree with me, and then little by little, I guess I just sort of stopped eating. I just stopped eating any sort of dairy products, and then from there on, I just stopped eating any meat products, and just kind of became vegan. So I think now it's by choice, but my body just seems to agree with this type of plant-based diet.
42. That's me.
That is an error. You're dead.
Get out. You're fired.
Okay, well, I don't even know if there's a point to asking this, but what's your favorite movie snack?
I like popcorn. Yeah, I mean, yeah, anything that's out there,
Okay.
yeah, anything that's out there, you can find
You
a.
just can't have butter on it.
Yeah, you can find a vegan version
Okay,
of it.
so you'd be good with like a can of corn? Because that has been an answer before. A can of corn.
A can, like a can of corn.
Yes, a can of corn.
Yes, I would. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Really?
Well, yes,
And corn.
yes, Bard. No, it wasn't Bard.
So,
It was, who was it? It was brain work. Who was it? It was, damn it.
Stormy.
Damn it. No.
Stormy?
I'll tell you in just a second.
What was it by choice?
But,
Oh yeah, he just loves. I think it was Bard.
I think it was Bard. If it wasn't
I
Stormy, it
think
was
it
Bard.
was.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it was Bard. He just loves
So-
corn. He
so-
loves corn, and he just eats it at any opportunity, including out of a can.
So, HR, do you play video games at all?
yeah, I do.
What kind of games do you play?
Well, I like horror games or Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs 2, I think, was probably one of the ones that I've played the most. I got into it more. I just couldn't get into the. I think I stopped playing, like Grand Theft Auto back in Grand Theft Auto 3, and then I just couldn't get into the newer ones. So, but I like Watch Dogs 2. I think I stopped also with Resident Evil at Resident Evil 2. And I think those were the last games that I really spent a large amount of time on.
So I have to ask this one.
Mhm.
I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this.
Go ahead and
What?
ask.
Do pineapples belong on pizza?
No, they do not.
Does pizza
Dinner.
belong on
I mean, what?
pineapples?
That'd be kind of hard to do.
See, I'm in the rare category where
Mhm.
I don't care. If there's pineapples on pizza, I'll eat it. I don't go out and looking for it, but I'm also not like opposed to it. So
Mhm.
I don't care if there's pineapples on pizza. If it's in front of me and I didn't have to pay for it, I'm gonna eat it because pizza's delicious.
But
Well,
will you
see-
enjoy it?
Yeah, I don't mind it. Like the ham, the sweet pineapples like brings out like the saltiness of the ham. It complements each other, so I can, like I said, I like it to an extent, but I don't like it enough that I go out and search for it. If it's given to me, and I didn't have to pay for it, I'm gonna eat it.
Okay, because there's a difference between because I have a lot of things where I'm like, oh, I'll eat it, whatever, I'll eat anything. But then I have things that I enjoy. So it sounds like that's one of those things where you'll eat it, but you don't like it. You'll eat it because you're like me, where I'll just eat anything if you put it in front of me.
If I
So
don't have to
it
pay
sounds
for
like
it, kind of thing.
Well,
Yeah,
if I didn't
uh-huh.
like it, I would spit. Like I have no decorum when it comes to things that I don't like. If I take a bite of something and I don't like how it tastes, I will physically just spit it out in my hand and throw it away. I don't care who's watching. Like I had my mom made something and she's like, "Tell me how this tastes," and I took a bite of it and I just spit it out and threw it away in front of her. I'm like, "It's disgusting." Like I have no decorum when it comes to if it's
That's
gross, I
disgusting.
will spit it out and tell you it's disgusting.
Wow.
Yeah. Seriously. And so long story short here, somebody tried to pull that on me once. It's hamburger. It doesn't look like hamburger. It's hamburger. Don't worry about it.
If you're eating
That
yellow
ain't no
hamburger,
hamburger.
something
That ain't
And
no
what was it?
hamburger.
I had a friend.
You really don't want to know. Let me put it that way. But let me another
Mm,
way.
Oh wow.
I am not eating that part of the pig ever again.
And
Oh
Oh.
wow.
I don't know if
Oh, I've
Harold,
had that part of the pig before.
So
You've had pig's brains?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the other end.
Nope. Nope.
I have had hog fries.
so I forgot what I was gonna say. That's cool. Oh, so HR have
Yeah.
and I've had this happen, and it was hilarious for a whole different reason than most people think this is funny. I have a friend who's vegan, and I guess somebody snuck beef product into something that they fed them, thinking they were gonna be funny.
Oh, that's not good.
And what was
It's bad for your
hilarious,
system.
what made it hilarious was, they're like, I don't feel good, and the guy's like, oh, shut up, I just gave you a little hamburger. And the second they said that, the person just vomited all over them, and I'm like, that is what you get.
Yeah.
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 Because you don't do
I
that.
was dying.
Yeah, no, the
laughing
proteins, they
Yeah.
lose the ability to digest the proteins.
Yeah.
And it will
Yeah,
make
I
them
was
sick.
dying. And I was dying
It was-
laughing, and originally they thought I was laughing at them, and I'm like, no, I'm laughing at the fact that guy got like his just desserts immediately.
Yeah. That's karma for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on here. My files look weird. So there's in Star Trek. In Star Trek, there's a everybody knows Vulcan, Spock's race. They quit eating meat hundreds of years ago. And it's not that they can't eat meat. It's just they would have to reacclimate their system to eating meat. And they haven't done that. So somebody in one of the episodes tried to feed Spock meat. And he just, mm-mm.
Did he get sick? I don't remember that episode.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do it.
I don't know why people think that's funny to do that to somebody who doesn't eat meat. I'm like, oh, you guys are assholes.
It
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
right
I
because
found
it
it
does
funny.
mess with their feet. It messes with their metabolism, their system, everything.
I just thought it was funny that the guy got that person got like their just desserts immediately.
Yeah.
All
Instant karma.
Paige, it is about that time. So,
Mhm.
HR, you got anything you want to say to the guys, to the fans watching?
No, just check out my my videos, and if there's anything that if you have any feedback, positive or negative, reach out to me, let me know what you think. But thank y'all for having me. I really appreciate it. Hopefully at some point in the future I can get a chance for redeeming myself on some of these questions.
Well, you better start watching a lot of stuff, boy.
Yeah,
And
I think you're dead. I think you're dead to 42 because
I know, it sounds like it.
Star Wars.
Right?
and negative comments do not mean I don't like your voice. Give him constructive criticism. Give
Yes,
him
they have-
something he could work with.
There you go.
I'm sorry. I'm a stickler for it. If you're gonna thumbs down my video, tell me what the fuck I did wrong.
Yeah, you're allowed to not like it, but at least give me your opinion as to why you don't like it.
Why didn't you like it? Was it something
Why
that
would
I
they not-
did?
Yeah. Somebody was like, somebody said, you don't need two intros. And I'm like, one's an intro and one's an outro. They're different. Don't,
Yeah, there's
don't,
his-
don't tell me
there's
I
his
don't need
and
two intros because there can only be one intro because there's only one beginning.
And there's a difference between when someone does something wrong and someone does something that you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between preference and actually something that could be corrected.
I
Your
mean,
You don't like
preference.
if you don't like that I have an outro, look, after the video's over, right as the intro starting, you can just click off the video. It's magic.
Mhm.
oh, it's magic. Anyway,
Anyway,
but yeah, I think it'd be fun to have you back.
Thank you.
absolutely.
I'd like to. Yeah, that'd be great. The good thing is that I can binge watch now a bunch of these shows, and then maybe by the end of it, I'll be quizzing you guys.
By the end of it, maybe you can be
Right?
one of the cool kids.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody could know any more about Supernatural than PA.
For no, I don't think it's possible. But
He's
wanna
seen
thank-
at least every episode 14 times, so
that's accurate. That's accurate. And there's not many people who could school me in anything Tolkien either.
Mm-mm.
That's Lord of the Rings.
Yes, there are
Mhm.
people who could
Yeah.
teach me anything
Tom
new.
Bombadil.
And if you can, I'm gonna, I'll listen because I like learning new things about Lord of the Rings and their universe. And Tom Bombadil was amazing, and I'm still angry at the movies for not including him.
You and me both.
But I want to
Yeah.
thank everybody who showed up to watch us ramble for an hour and a half. You guys are awesome.
And
love you
y'all
guys.
have a
And
good day.
thank you for the
Thank you, everybody.
thank you to the never thank you
Mhm.
thank you to the Nevermore Collective for once again providing this wonderful platform for us to do our thing on. And I think the best person to talk about that is PA.
Yes, so the Nevermore Collective. If any of you listening to my voice right now have an idea for a show that doesn't quite meet the criteria for your channel, but yet you still really want to do it, the Nevermore Collective is for everyone. You can contact me, 242 Reads, who is currently on the Nevermore Collective as the Nevermore Collective. She's the one, the yellow, or as the Raven Dreams, and we can discuss getting you, the show and everything that you want to do. It's open to everyone. It's not just for certain people. As a collective, we are open to everyone. So if you guys have something you want to do, please just let us know, and we will more than happily get you on here.
So with that, y'all have a great day. Thanks for being here. Be safe. And we love you. And once you've entered,
You'll
You
leave
can leave.
nevermore.
Once you've
Nevermore.
joined the collective, you will leave nevermore.